T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, we made it.
Finally here. A
Yes, we made it.
long road, but we did it.
Yes. So, what's going on? I'm gonna
Well,
share the stream while you're talking. I'm sorry, I'm listening.
okay, no problem, no problem. Well, just wanted to welcome everybody, say hello. This is my second video on YouTube, on Facebook, on YouTube, just period. After leaving the witnesses, it's been such a long road. I just want to first start out by just offering our sincerest thanks, just to say that um, Spencer and I are so entirely grateful for the
We are.
overwhelming responses that we have, received through telephone, through Facebook, through private message, through, pigeon carrier. It was, I thank you guys for reaching out so much, and letting us know how much we all are connected, and life after we leave the witnesses, how many people struggle, how many people are affected by the policies. So we, first of all, we wanted to thank you for just reaching out and connecting with us to let us know that it's, this is a global huge thing going on, not just in our personal lives. And we just want to say thank you for that. Secondly, on a personal note, I always like to thank my wife, because it was
Aw.
it was her who it was she who,
She probably.
not sure, it was she whom had woketh me up.
Something like
A
that.
lot of patience, a lot of energy, a lot of long, deliberate, hard conversations, a lot of
Right.
conversations I didn't want to have. But through her patience, through her determination, I was able to finally wake up, and that was really, really hard, because I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. I had been a Jehovah's Witness my entire life, over 30 years. My family was witnesses. My friends were witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, my family was really heavy engaged. My father was a coordinator by the elders, a pioneer. My mother was a pioneer. I had an uncle who was coordinator of his hall, and you know, uh,
Also an anointed.
anointed. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
I had a lot of family, and it was kind of just set up for that next generation of witnesses to raise up. So when I wasn't feeling it as I should have, it kind of raised alarms, and I learned very quickly that my parents' love could be conditional, that it was based upon how I was um, excelling or not excelling in an organization. So that kind of left a mark with me. Um, I also had an older brother who was disfellowship. Lost contact with him from the age of 16, and I hadn't spoken with him in about 20 years. So, there's a number of things that were showing me that the love that I was taught to receive, or what I have been taught was love, wasn't actually feeling like love when it came down.
Right.
So, eventually, I want to say I faded,
Right.
because I didn't actually, um, I didn't get disfellowshipped. I didn't get kicked out. I didn't get reproved. Like matter of fact, the last time I went to the hall, I gave a volunteer talk. So, you
I
know,
remember that.
it was like, hey, this guy's he's on it, and then next week I'm like, I'm not going back anymore. But you know, the thing that initially stopped me from making a video and from doing Facebook or YouTube or anything like that was, as I mentioned, I had family and friends who were still witnesses, and I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want my parents to eventually see this and to, felt like I was, that A word. I felt like I was that apostate. So um, I held my tongue. And in a lot of ways, I regret that because it put a pause on my growth as a person. I had a fear, even after leaving the witnesses, I still had that mentality of not wanting to stumble anybody.
Right.
Not wanting to stumble anybody, even if it means sacrificing to yourself, not stumbling somebody. So I felt like my change of faith could be stumbling to them and it could be painful to them, and I didn't want to do that, so I tried to shield them from as much as possible. But I realized that kept me in a box. It kept me limited on who I could interact with, on just how much freedom I could experience after leaving the witnesses. And it honestly made no sense to leave the witnesses and not experience that freedom. So after a lot of encouragement, after a lot of struggle, um, decided to finally, show this old ugly mug and my
Aw.
my Corona cut, and
Right. Nobody can get a haircut right now. I
nobody
don't
can
know.
get
I don't
haircuts.
know why you keep talking about your cut or whatever.
I'm calling my Corona cut.
But I like to say that it's a journey. I think that we are unique in that we were at different points in our marriage. Like, you were physically in. Well, at some point you were mentally in, and I guess that's what Jehovah Witnesses say. You were persecuted. No, I'm joking. You were a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Even though that's just what you say about that. You were a Jehovah's Witness, and I was waking up, and it was hard for me to be waking up before you, and there was a lot of complications. Not one, I thought I might lose my kids, because I had heard all of these stories now in the ex Jehovah Witness community of parents losing their children to the aggressive lawyers within the religion. And then at some point, in our journey, uh, I went through another crisis of conscience, if you will, when it comes to Christianity. So we find ourselves in a spot again where religion has been everything in our lives, and now is still everything in our lives. Even after leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, you still find yourself talking more and more about religion, and I just have to say, it's a journey.
It
It's a
is.
journey. So don't be so hard on yourself, because you said that at one point you wish you had showed your face a lot sooner, but you grow into that freedom. It takes a while for you to feel like you're free. We're like
Right.
really truly free.
But
I
but
would-
that's just a little bit of my story as in coming here and making this video. But um, like if you joined us in the outside of this video, you'll notice that the title of our video was, married to Jehovah's Witnesses. So it's basically
yes.
our story of how we personally got to the point of waking up as a couple. And I worded it like that because we didn't wake up together. You
No.
know, there was eventually a point where we woke together as a couple, but it didn't start out like that. It started out with me having some weird suspicions. It started out with me feeling like you were starting to waver a little bit in your resolve to be a witness. um, I felt like I needed to encourage you further. Well, I was told I needed to encourage you further. I was told that in order to have um, any sort of privileges, any sort of advancement, that my entire family had to be together, that we all had to do it together. And with you waking up, it was a little bit difficult. It was hard because um, you were a little resistant. You didn't want to read the publications. You was just starting to insist, like, let's just study out of the Bible. And as a witness, I had never that was frustrating to me because I felt like we could make so much more progress if we focused on the publications, you know, and kind of supplemented that with the Bible. And to reverse that around, like that was frustrating for me. So I felt that battle, I felt that struggle, and that was the first hint, the first inclination that I felt like, okay, something's changing in Spencer, something's going on. But you know, I was trying. It was a hard thing not to be offended. It was a hard thing not to be suspicious because that was ingrained. If somebody bucks at it, if somebody doesn't doesn't initially just accept uh, the truth, then they're just labeled they don't want it, or they're an apostate, or So I was trying to find a balance there. I knew you were my wife. I knew I loved you, but at the same time, I knew I was supposed to love Jehovah more. I love the organization more than that, and I was just trying to. I mean, like I said, up to that point, I had only been shown conditional love myself. So at this point, I was being asked to show a type of love that I
You
didn't.
just you hadn't demonstrated had been demonstrated to you.
Right.
I mean, sorry, I had a pug emergency with our dog.
I heard her. I heard her.
So JW Survivors says it's nice to see both of you again. You remember her from the meetup, Sharon.
Hey Sharon, how's it going?
Check out her YouTube channel, y'all. She has a new video up. She did a video about Corona, and it has mallards in it. I'll just leave it at that. Go check it out. And let's see, we have Alvin. He says, nice that you guys get to talk to each other via video. Yeah, I guess it's kind of cool.
Yeah, way from the bedroom.
I know. Right. We're still in quarantine, y'all.
Right.
Sylvia Walker, I love her videos. She said it took her 6 years. 6
Wow.
years to show her face on YouTube, so don't feel bad.
Okay. I'll try not to.
Yeah. It's
like
a
I said,
journey.
I
It
was so
really is.
nervous for some reason. I just didn't want. I mean, I'm still. I mean, okay, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. My name isn't STZ, but I mean that's another video for another time. I'm working my way into that.
Right. But I think one of the things, if you watch the part one that I did that by myself. I wanted to talk in depth about my background, and I told you about my abusive background. Oh, gosh, where did I leave off? A black eye or a child protective services? Let's see, y'all. I left off at being in the police station with my father-in-law, who was an elder, and my boyfriend, who is at the time was STZ. And we were in the police station about to file a police report on my abusive Jehovah's Witness mom, who had just punched me in the eye and threatened me over wanting to date Simon because she wanted me to go to Bethel. And Mom, I like to. I guess our audience is really extra Jehovah's Witnesses, so I can say this. Wait a minute, who is this? Thought y'all was playing Call of the.
I got my sticks in the other room. Pick them up.
I know, Blair. Why you talking all that? He said he thought. You know what? This is like a little game and live stream thing.
Yeah.
Sharon said she just made a new Corona video today too. Check it out. I'm gonna check it out. I haven't seen it yet.
Hey Paul, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for saying hey.
Yeah, you guys from Facebook and YouTube. So I left off there. So I guess I'll let you take it away from how you. I guess let's take it back a little bit to you asking my mom, well, not asking my mom, but inquiring about dating me because you just, I guess, apparently just wanted me so bad.
Well, as a witness, you reach a certain time where you're safely made it through the bloom of youth, and you want to start dating somebody, and
the
at that
bloom
point,
of youth. I ain't heard
yeah,
that in a long time.
right. So at that point in time, I was done. I mean, I felt like I wanted to marry somebody who was spiritually mature and somebody who had it together spiritually, and I mean, I looked over at you, and you had it together as a witness. You were pioneering. You were, holding on your job. You were, assisting your family, getting to the meetings. You was, you know, uh, you checked a lot of witness check boxes.
It sounds
You
like
know,
quite a catch.
you did, yeah. You still are. You still are. You're talking past tense. You're talking past, but yeah, you still are. So anyway,
No.
of course, there's First Corinthians 7:9 and 39. So, dating only in the Lord, and so
Mhm.
um, that meant you had to marry another Jehovah's Witness. So uh, I wanted to do everything the right way. I didn't want to do it half. Yeah, I didn't want to go, down the dark road and sneak and date you and whatever. So I actually went to one of the elders in my hall and asked him, if he could chaperone Dayton. I hadn't even talked to you at that point. I hadn't even told you that I liked you. I just felt like the started to get certain ducks in order, or whatever. I don't know what I was doing, but anyway, that backfired because I guess he told his wife, who told your mom, who assaulted you. And the next time I saw you, you called me. I remember it was raining. You said that your mom had hit you in the face, and she had put you out your own car. And I came to pick you up. And when I came to pick you up, like I said, I saw the swelling in your face, and it was horrible. And I don't know. I think from that moment, it kind of became like Bonnie and Clyde a little bit. I felt like,
A lot of that, it really was because we jumped the dating period
yeah.
completely.
Yeah, because it was like the adults couldn't handle the situation, and I mean, and we were trying to handle it the adult way. We tried to go to the leaders and ask them for chaperone. We tried, and then it was just like due to gossip, due to irresponsibility. It got into the hands of an abusive person, and they took it out, you know, on
I
you.
mean,
And so at that point, it was kids trying to make adult decisions when adults wasn't making the right decisions, and that led us to uh like I say, Bonnie and Clyde. It led us to a long time of just being me and you, and we struggled a lot.
a
we
lot.
uh
We
we
had
did
a
not.
lot of we had a lot of pot pies, a lot of what Minute Maid, a lot of cheap stuff. The thing
Yeah.
of the matter is that one of the things about being a Jehovah's Witness is, like, to back up a little bit. My mom did not want me to move out the house because she felt like, because I was a woman, or at the time a girl, that I shouldn't move out the house unless I was married.
Okay.
And most witnesses actually think that, and they don't believe in you just going and leaving
Oh
the
yeah.
home and moving in and getting an apartment
No, because
and
if you
staying
live
on
up by
your own.
yourself, you're either going for one or two things, and they both sex.
Exactly. David Wickens says, "Good to see you both. I
Hey
think
Dave.
Simon and I are in a similar label predicaments with the Watchtower not having disfellowshipped us at this point."
Yeah,
They tried though. Not
it's
tried, but
it's weird little gray area to be in where you've left them, but they haven't really left you yet. Like
it's
I
like
was
you can't
telling
break up with them, right?
I was telling you yesterday, I feel like I'm shunning the witnesses. Like if I saw them, they could talk to me. They could still say, "Hey, come to the hall. Haven't seen you. Our memorials here and there." But it's like I see them and I'm crossing the street and I'm random. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. Hello, Sandra. Sylvia says, "It's sad how judgmental they are in an organization, even when it comes to dating people who are baptized Jehovah's Witnesses. I can relate."
Yeah.
It's so true. It's like my mom didn't want Sylvia also says they don't believe sisters should live on their own and be independent thinkers. It's so true, because if you living on your own, they automatically assume that you are having sex
Right.
because you are not married. At
Right.
least in our little neighborhood, that's a culture. I don't know if that was like that for anybody. Drop it in the comments and let us know. But that's how it was. Like, you just moved out. You couldn't just move out unless you. I mean, like, it just looked inappropriate. How about that? Paul says, "I'm married to a born-in Jehovah Witness. Boy, was her family furious and basically shunned her. It was after 5 years they found out I was witness to a Jehovah Witness, and now other For funny thing, their minds exploded when they found out I'm a Baptist pastor.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so yeah, so you will experience shunning. Like if you don't marry or date in the fashion in which they expect you to, you experience shunning.
Hmm.
You know,
But yeah, so that forced me to
so that's
basically follow that checklist. I had to make sure, were you spiritually minded? Did you have a good reputation? Were you engaged in the field ministry? Were you attractive? Well, no, that was my one. That was they didn't ask.
right. I was about to say
But anyway, um, like I say, the dating period did not go as planned. Um, we
we ended up in the police station and we filed a police report. And at that point, we were just bonded by pain and trauma for the better part of many, many years. Right?
absolutely, absolutely, yep. So, I mean, after that, we kind of, um, like I said, we just kind of focused on ourselves. We stopped leaning so much on our parents. We stopped leaning so much on organization. It got to a point later on where we wanted to still get our lives together because I think that, well, me personally, I still wanted to get my life together because I still had this call to be a good person, and I felt like all apostates. Well, as a witness, I felt like I was taught that all apostates were bad people. They always wanted to leave for selfish reasons. They always had these delusions of grandeur of them being bigger and better than the organization. So when I left the organization, I was like still on guard against becoming that type of apostate. But as I kind of spent more and more time out of the organization, as I dropped some of those ideas, as some of those shackles fell off, I began to realize that you know you could be a good person apart from the Jehovah's Witnesses. You could live a life of
Right.
quality and of substance away from the witnesses. The witnesses was not the good thing about me. And once I realized that, once I could drop that, that's when I really felt true freedom. Even after leaving for a while, I was battling in my mind of should I go back every time a memorial came around and my parents were acting like this was the holiest day of a year and my entire relationship to Jehovah depended on this one night of me coming by and abstaining from wine
Right. You
and
gotta say
bread.
right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean that meant that you were a Jehovah's Witness, and it's like every year I would continually let them down because I would creatively come up with some reason why I couldn't make the memorial or I couldn't attend. When really in my mind at the time, I felt like the memorial wasn't actually being carried out in the way it was written in the Bible. And I couldn't explain that. Hey, PJ, I couldn't explain that to anybody. I couldn't, especially not my parents. I couldn't explain that to my friends. I learned from past experiences. I couldn't really talk to the elders with a great deal of secrecy. So uh, that led me basically just to do my own research. It led me to do my own study, and that really broke down a lot of chains. I realized that a lot of the things that the witnesses were doing was abusive. A lot of their policies, a lot of their decisions were harmful, were
Right.
dangerous, and you started to see the effects of that once you left the organization. Once you lifted your head up out of the sand, you started to see how many people were broken and hurt as a result of this organization. And that in itself made me want to, ring the bells and try to get more and more people out. So it led us to, engage online with a lot of witnesses and
Well,
try.
actually, we jump right into what the Ex Jehovah Witness Christian community, and I make a difference in the slice because there is a difference. There is definitely a difference. Maybe in another video on another day, we could talk about that. But yeah, it's definitely a difference. We took a splash and we started our first YouTube channel, not this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. The first one
um,
was more, uh, I would call it more spiritual. It was more scripture based. It was more theology. There was a little bit of, word study and all that stuff that people were engaged in generally after they leave the witnesses online. But, a lot of those arenas we found out were just like gladiator arenas. People go there and they try to show who knows more and who can articulate it better, but nobody's listening. Everybody's just typing. And uh, we wanted to do something a little bit different after we left. We didn't want to get lost in just endless, mindless debates online. We wanted to show that there could be life after witnesses. We wanted to share our struggles with you guys. We wanted to share our triumphs with you guys. We wanted just to really connect and, just to open up, just to finally be free. I mean, I personally hadn't done a YouTube video. I hadn't thought about doing a Facebook video because as witnesses, I mean, we were too busy. Hey, I spent an hour yesterday on YouTube just talking to my friends, and they're like, well, you didn't study, you didn't go out, you didn't do any formal witnessing. There's so much time, and so
Can I ask a favor?
yeah, sure.
It's a shameless plug. You
Mhm.
know that I'm on the glass table, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
awesome. Awesome job, by the way.
Thanks.
If you haven't watched it, please watch it. I'm not sure your next show this Sunday, right?
Right. I haven't got the title yet, so
Okay.
it'll be out soon, y'all.
It's awesome format. I like it.
So I was gonna say, what was I gonna say after my plug? I was gonna say that I guess it'll come to me. Anyway, let's go to the comments.
Wow.
Emma says, yo, oh, that's not Emma, is it? That's David. Says they
David.
were using what they call JW Jehovah Witness
Positive peer pressure. Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. And that's huge in the witnesses. I mean, that's how they do it. It's communal. It's a mindset. We can almost sniff it out when somebody's not doing enough, and it's almost ingrained in us to stir them up and to motivate them. We like to call it motivating them to love and fine works.
It's really bugging me that I can't remember what I was about to say. I was really excited. Anyway, so Emma says, yo, she was late. She was watching the Vikings. That's because you finished the other, what is it? What is that we're watching now?
Oh, the Tiger
document. Yeah, she put me on the Tiger King.
That is a wild.
It is wild.
It's a wild show. Just when you think you have it, you're wrong.
Right. And then when you think it's no more that can be done, the next one just blows your mind.
It's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, I had no idea people like that actually existed, but then again.
She says we're a cute couple. Aww.
Oh, thank you.
And then PJ says that so many people has had so much in common as far as being abused by the cult. Abuse is rampant. Okay, so now I know what I wanted to say. PJ and Emma and I.
Roundtable.
They're in the comments. They're also on the glass table. That's what I want to say.
I think I'm freezing or something.
Yeah, it'll catch up. Look, you want me to
Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm back.
All right. Well, yeah, it says, yes, so many people had so much in common as far as being abused by the cult. Yeah, it was true. We were in a police station because I had literally, my mother turned around and just socked me right in the eyes. And they have, that wasn't the only instance of my mom being abusive. It wasn't, or my parents being abusive. However, I think I know for a fact that some knew and just didn't know what to do. For some reason, they don't like calling the police on, for anything. I know, like for me, sitting at that police station, I was embarrassed. I was crying, and at that time, Simon didn't know me that well. He had probably heard rumors of the abuse, but it was the first time he had actually witnessed it. And it just seems like to me that the witnesses always, just enable abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's physical abuse. It's just they refuse to call the police or anything. And in that particular instance, I often wonder what made my father-in-law go to the police station, because he actually did go. He filed a police report, but he could have started a judicial committee, which he ended up not doing. And I was talking about your dad.
I was listening.
Oh, I was like, I'm talking about your dad like that. Okay, y'all, Simon back. We can't talk about him no more. But no, I was just saying how embarrassed I was at the police station, because you young people, you're trying to be cute in front of the other person, and You had to come up there and I done got socked in the eye.
It felt like the
And
we
then
got
it never stopped. Like even after that, I mean, she would like leave all these crazy voicemails. She ripped up our wedding picture and sent it back to us. Followed us places. It was just weird. It got to get, and I got my tire slashed. It was, my appearance was toxic. Was toxic on top of being Jehovah's Witnesses, but I think it's important to know and even important to even say it because there are some, I mean, the witnesses are representative of our society, like a really small slice.
hmm
There's a lot, it's not just, um, I'll just put it this way. Abuse goes on within the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, whether it's physical or whether it's sexual, it just happens.
absolutely
And you would think that because they pride themselves on being some type of spiritual leaders, that they would hold themselves more accountable. My mom had issues with uh, you know alcohol, and I would you know I just remember living in terror. You know,
hmm
before and after the meetings, or you know I just remember her just being super toxic. Like she just, as you know, very possessive, just would not let me go. And she poured all this into me. She wanted me to go to Bethel. And then I think as a mother, I try to put myself, because I've never been a Jehovah's Witness. I've been a Jehovah's Witness mother for what, about 5 minutes, but not really 5 minutes, but maybe a couple years before I started waking up.
right.
And I tried to put myself in her shoes, and I just really think she thought she was losing me. Because she would say stuff like, she losing me to the world, she losing me to Satan. She just all of these huge
Right.
exaggerations about, but that was her worldview though. So you would think because you were an elder son, and your mom was a pioneer, that would mean something. But in her mind, you know, you were taking me away and
Right.
taking away my dreams. So in some ways, she would try to say, you need to be an independent woman. You need to not be dependent on a man, and go to Bethel, and the brothers that want you, right? And then on the other hand, she'd be like, oh, you can't move out on your own because it's scary out there. You need to be married. You can't just live. You're gonna live in the house by yourself, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I mean, as much as, and then you know what, just being a Jehovah's Witness sometimes, it's like, I think we're learning this dynamic. Can I say this? I think we're learning this dynamic where we've coming out of the watchtower, and it's a misogynistic such type of structure, and it's very demeaning and oppressive to women. And as a ex Jehovah Witness man, you kind of carry some of that over, or
And you don't realize it. You don't realize it because that's the only view that you were taught. And so when you leave the witnesses, yeah, you start to break down all the religious stuff that they taught you, all the barriers to love, but the misogyny, that culture, you just don't realize it. You just have this ingrained feeling as a man that you are first in God's eyes, that you stand before a woman. And it was just taught to you that way. The men stood up when they gave talks, the women sat down, the men prayed, the women could only do so with head coverings, the men were in positions of teaching, and the women's they were in position of assisting or leading. So, you kind of walk out, you kind of leave out carrying a lot of misogyny with you. You kind of, especially as a brother, I think we always kind of joke sometimes that brothers could kind of date outside their league and organization. Like, you would see a brother walk past with a wife or a sister and was like, how in the world did he get her?
right.
It's because it's a shortage of brothers. So, leaving out of there, I kind of still had that mentality like, okay, I'm God's gift to everybody. And, once I lost that air of a witness, it took me a while to recover from that because I didn't realize how much I enjoyed being haughty in that matter, how much I enjoyed that misogyny because it made me feel more secure in myself. So when I had to drop that and start focusing on the quality of people, or not some order or some order of pecking list in which I had been taught by the Watchtower. It became a lot more blatant. The misogyny became a lot more blatant, and you can sometimes you can smell it like a stench sometimes, not only in people's words but in their behavior after leaving the witnesses.
Right.
And that's one of the chains sometimes that are the hardest to break, because once you break that chain, it leaves you feeling a little bit less secure about yourself, because you unknowingly you use that to make yourself feel good as a witness. You use that to show yourself your authority. Even if it's a husband, hey, my wife she puts a head covering on to acknowledge that I'm first to God in her mind. And I mean, like, again, it took me a while to understand. Like, even it took Bible study, it took it took therapy, it took a lot of things, you know, to get to a point where I'm not still holding you and still living with that mindset, still oh, well, I'm the head of the household. I mean, how many talks have we heard about men being the head of the household? Yeah, listen to your wives, but men, you're the head of the household. And it's it that type of air
Well,
makes
I can
you.
think of an instance that's not really equal. It's one that you thought of the other day.
Oh
That
yeah, when your whole entire household has to have it together before you can hold it. Before if I wanted to go to work and advance in my job, nobody at work would care. Well, how's your wife doing? You know, is your wife doing good? But here it's like, okay, if I wanted to become a marital servant, then hey, is your wife getting a monthly average in the hours, or is your wife attending every meeting? And like I say, at the point in time, I think that you were kind of going through a little crisis of conscience, so you weren't going to be a exemplary publisher, and I was just in a position of perpetual frustration. And I think that too also led me to leave. Like, I felt like I was in a position of not winning. I didn't want to sin. I didn't want to break Jehovah's heart. I didn't want to do anything bad against God, but that religion was not for me. So yeah, I
right.
kind of faded away. I didn't do anything to get this, but I mean, I didn't write a letter to say I was leaving. I just kind of just started shunning them, and one day to another, here we are.
But on the flip side, a woman in the congregation is kind of more of a not mansplaining, but it's more like if a woman, if her household is not together, say for instance, she even got a husband, they don't even come to the hall. They're
Oh,
not.
she's
They don't.
celebrated.
They don't take her off the pioneer list because of it.
No, she celebrated because of it. Like, you made it to the hall and your husband doesn't even leave. Wow, it's like, if a husband was to do that, where's your wife at? She didn't want to come. You don't have your household together.
Let's look at some of these comments, and then I know that we are going to wrap up so we can feed our children.
Oh yeah,
Right?
definitely
Let's
hungry.
let's see. It says here, Cuzzo, it's a secret society after all. It's deep, cuz look at the secrets that they keep, as you said, sexual and physical abuse of children being swept under the rug. What type of truth is that? None. You right, cuz. Sylvia Walker says, facts. It's typically if your sister without exiled looks, you were invisible. It's true.
Yeah,
Especially, and that's real, especially in the African American congregations, where it seems like, well, that's another topic and for another day. Well, I feel you there, just though, Sylvia. David says, my presiding overseer in Chicago was stubborn and just shorter than his wife. They live in Western Michigan now, Ludenton area. All right, we'll keep a lookout on the circuit overseer walking around here with a wife that's shorter
right.
than
Way out of his league.
him. Way out of his league, right? PJ Amber says, yes, definitely. The men in the congregation did really treat the women as lesser people. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, because I said this before. I always say this actually. It seems to me that when you're a woman, and I know you cannot identify, but when you're a woman in the in the organization, you're not just in subjection to your husband. If you have one, you're in subjection to everybody's husband or
Right.
every man. Like even an 11-year-old kid. Like if it was a field service meeting, and this 11-year-old kid was baptized, and he was just because of what he has in between his legs. That means that he can take out the the group. You know what I'm saying? And you can't. So let's see. You had to prove you could control her to move up. It's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You had to have me in check.
Yep. And
Which that didn't quite work out.
it was a difficult hand.
You had a very, very difficult hand.
But I mean, I'm glad it wasn't easy, because if it was an easy hand to play, then I would still be there, and you know.
Right. Sylvia says her stepdad was initially barred from being a minister or so because I chose to attend college in another city. I eventually walked away from freedom and a good scholarship. How many of us had those stories? My sister has that story. I mean,
That's so sad. Like, you have to choose between family or displeasing your parents.
okay,
You know,
they was
you have
well,
school,
yeah, well, that happened to me. Well, that happened to me
choose
that I
between
ended up dropping
school.
out.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like when you do attend school, you feel like you're doing something wrong, so you don't give it your all.
Nope.
You try to make it seem like, oh, school isn't going to take that much time away from serving Jehovah, so you just kind of just give it the bare minimum, and you don't excel because you're not giving it your all. You're not experiencing it to the full. Like, I mean, and that was just a lot of money that Sally Mae is going to come back and ask me for. That, I mean, I wasted.
I know Sally and Corona. I can't with them.
Mm-mm.
David says, this is a little long, so I'm not going to put it on the cast on the screen, but it says, I remember being on private reproof with full restrictions circa 1999, went to a field service arrangement, was the only brother, and the sister had to give the prayer with the head covering on. Oh my God.
And you know what?
Why?
I was the same way.
Wow.
I was on restrictions, and it was only sisters there. I remember Sister Coleman, Carolyn Coleman. She
Stop that.
she was proud too. She stood up and she took the group out, and yeah, it was very humiliating at that point, because I was used to being a man in charge. So when I was on restrictions, when I was
It
on
was
discipline,
designed to be humiliating, though.
and I wasn't allowed to be misogynistic. I wasn't allowed to have that. It was discipline. It felt bad. It felt bad to sit down while a sister was standing up running the meeting for field service.
Well, you said you had an instance where there would be women who wouldn't pay you attention.
Yeah, because I mean, I was younger, and the pioneers, and they get together and they have the way they want to work the streets, and they know the best way to do it. And so when I come out and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not sure if a street runs from east to west or north to south, and I'm trying to get the group together, and you can just see them. He don't know what he doing. I'm like, I don't know.
Emma said my elder stepdad stepped down because I wasn't playing by the rules.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's another thing, pressure.
yeah, growing up, I mean, it was so much pressure. I couldn't do so many things growing up because my father was an elder growing up. So he always had those aspirations. So any mistake that we made, we knew reflected on him. Anytime we didn't get averages that we needed to in field ministry, it would reflect poorly on him when a circuit overseer came. So, we didn't experience a lot of our childhood trying to bolster, his efforts to become an elder.
Well, yeah, well, I guess I didn't have that added pressure. I mean, my father was aspiring, and my mother, she just really, I mean, the Real Housewives wasn't back then, but she was like the Real Housewives of the
I see that.
insert the name of the congregation here. Okay, so I think that's just how that was, and she really wanted him to advance and do big things as a Jehovah Witness. So, but he didn't quite make the cut. So, you had a total different life growing up than me, though, as an elder's kid or whatever. So
I
I'd
did.
like to say at this point, thank you for listening. We are
Wow,
approaching our hour
that
already.
was fast. That was
It,
really fast.
it was really fast, wasn't it?
It was.
Dirk, I do see your comments here,
Oh wow, Dirk.
but I don't know. I don't know if that's German. Is that German? Thank you so much for watching and listening to us. And PJ
I'm
said I
gonna
didn't make
Google
one good
translate
one
that.
either.
I'm gonna Google
I didn't
translate.
make a good one.
Dirk, you didn't type that out for nothing. I'm gonna Google translate after the show, figure out what you said, but hopefully it's good job, and we did a wonderful and all that good stuff.
Positive something.
If not, we'll try to do better next time. Sorry, Dirk.
So yeah. So before we go, I wanted to wait till you see this. This is kind of neat. You know, my husband's been working with me with it took me all these years to be interested in tech or all that kind of stuff.
We'll get you there.
Right.
Eventually, I don't know if Blair's still here, but it might be Call of Duty next time. So
right. So can you see this on the screen?
I can.
Okay, so here is our blog, the blog that I've been covering. We've been covering. This is the part 2. There is a part 3. We actually combined part 2 and part 3 together. So this is my part. I'm going and telling it through my eyes. And then Simon has his own part where he's telling it through his eyes. You'll be able to dig it up on the site. Make sure that you click and subscribe to our YouTube channels. We have a different look to the site. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. How do I get to? Okay, there we go. We have STZ's Man's Corner, a corner where we write reflections of an Ex Jehovah Witness, and we just kind of blog. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, our new channel. And Simon, you have a video coming out. I guess you kind of showed your face already.
I do. It was meant to be a more video introduction. I kind of did that here, but I'm still gonna put it out. You know?
Yeah. You should.
Again, like I said, just get a little bit more used to putting out video content and not just the audio only stuff that we've been doing for all this time.
Yeah. We had been doing audios only up until this is your second video showing your face, right?
Right. This is already I'm a professional now.
Right.
I don't know where to look at. I'm looking at you on the screen or I'm looking at the camera. It's like
yeah. Blair was still here. He said he'll join in.
All right. Let's get it.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you guys soon. Hang on one second. I don't know why I can't take these comments off. You know, this is so much different because I'm so used to you doing all of this.
I know. I got hands free. I can drink. Can relax while you do all the tech work.
Right. Emma says she prefer to see people's faces anyway, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You'll be showing our face.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a lot easier too.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna go and feed these kids.
Take care. Remember, wash your hands and do social distancing and all that stuff. We can